I am Amaka Okoye, reminding you to keep staying safe out there.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
This medal has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
We now start hearing the shoot of gun.
Whatever I've done.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
The biggest challenge for our generation is here. COVID-19 has altered the way we live in unprecedented ways. The only way to win in a crisis like this is to separate fact from falsehood, separate science from superstition, to get crucial information on how to live in a COVID-19 infected world. Join Stanley Bentu on Stay Safe, coming your way on Mondays and Thursdays at 9:30 p.m. on Plus TV.
Hello and welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa. Tea Time is an entertainment analysis show that covers everything popping in the industry, about your favorite celebrities, and also covers the biggest stories in the world of entertainment and lifestyle. My name is Ife Omai, and today I am surrounded by tantalizing, articulate and somewhat troublesome men to do the talking and analysis of the hot topics today with me, and that's Ifeoluwa Oshike and Miles.
What up?
Hello.
Hi.
Apostle, yeah, of this. What's going on, man?
Hi, welcome to the table.
You're good, by the
Thank you, thank you.
Who did that?
Oh, our makeup artist, Happiness.
Happiness,
You like?
please come and make my face happy.
Oh yeah, now happy. I've
Are
told
you sure it's your
you.
face you want happiness to make happy, though?
Hey guys,
Yeah,
guys.
But real quick, man, in case, you know, a lot of people don't know you on the stage,
Yeah.
so we're giving you 40 seconds to
40 seconds.
quickly tell us about yourself.
All right, my name is Miles. Some people call me the eighth wonder of the world.
Okay.
I'm so much trouble. I talk for a living. I'm a broadcaster, and yeah, everything fun. Miles.
Alrighty.
Not less than 20 seconds. There should be more.
Please leave him
It's okay,
alone
it's okay,
now.
Okay, they'll find out the
That's
rest.
about it. That's
Let-
about
I
it.
mean, the thing- I feel like
Eight
with more
wonder of
time.
the world mystery.
Yeah, please. Can we talk about that? When is
That-
that from?
We have 7 wonders of the world. So
You're the eighth.
the 8th.
Alright.
What makes you a wonder?
You'll find out.
Ifeoluwa, he's not
You'll
against what to
find
do.
You'll find out.
It's not.
Don't worry.
No, he's
No,
part of
it's the
anchors.
viewer's guest, so let them get to know him. I think I know him a little bit already.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm excited to do this with you. Are we ready?
Yeah,
what
definitely,
with you?
man.
Analyze the topics.
I was
today.
born ready.
Alrighty.
It's with you.
Okay, so
Okay.
the first story for today is about the Nollywood actor Mike Ezunoye, who criticized the apology message to popular film producer and fellow actor Kunle Afolayan. As you know, as we all recall, they had a back and forth, and Mike recently dragged Kunle for sharing screenshots of a DM he got in which Mike was labeled a scammer. Kunle had penned down a whole epistle to Mike on Instagram feed to what looked like, you know, he had an intention of explaining his side. However, Mike feels like, and I quote, a sincere apology is not an epistle with very underlined pride. So that is like the update on that story. What do you guys think about that?
I want Miles to go first.
Okay, cool. I think I'm on Mike's side on this one. But both of them, they're both going through a lot, by the way. But like, if you want to
When you say they're going
apologize,
through a lot, you
they
know.
have problems. I beg. Just put your egos on the table and just like, guy, have fun now. No vex that thing right, do you?
Yeah,
And move on.
yeah.
Right. But if you want to apologize to someone, I don't think all that long story is necessary. Guy, I used to no vex. I should have just called you or something. I am
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Moving on, what do we do? Not then this and that and all that story. So
Yeah.
I'm with Mike on this one. Kunle, come on, just say sorry.
Yeah.
And let's move on.
Yeah, I understand. A lot of people have different ways of expressing their deepest remorse, right? So you really can't tell a person how you're supposed to express your remorse. And that if you really want to be factual, right, Kunle did Mike wrong by that post in the first
Yeah.
place. So I think
Why
it's
did
a-
you have to
it's-
post it on Instagram?
Yeah, so I think this whole thing is a one-on-one conversation because you already messed up coming on social media. So the next place you should have taken it to is my face. Don't bring it back on social media. That's the first place Kunle messed up. So if you really want to bring this up again, do it to my face like a man that you are. You understand? I'm not saying Kunle is not a man, but at the end of the day, I feel
Well, I mean,
like
he did
this is
try
a-
to do that. Remember now, you're jumping one part where he Kunle went to his DM to try to explain the
That's a
situation.
DM. I'm talking about face to face. Now, this is a colleague. It
They
might
have
be
each
a
other's
junior
numbers or something.
colleague.
Just
They
ask
have each other.
someone.
They have each other's managers.
I don't think they're
you know.
friends, though. I don't
They're
think they
not
have.
friends. That's why I
like,
said
a-
Mike, in comparison to Kunle Afolayan, is a junior colleague. No disrespect, no shade to anybody. That's just fact only. You get me? So if you actually want to apologize to Mike, I think it's even you dragging yourself through the mud by saying, okay, this guy has already dragged you. He has obviously expressed himself to you how he felt about what you did. So I think as a bigger man, what you should do is come to my face and be like, yo, bro, come here, little man. You get put him under your shoulder and be like, boy, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Mike. No, like I think
You're
that's
making it look like as if the Mike is some upcoming artist
that's
that
not
just
what I'm
came.
making
Like,
it look like. You guys
excuse
don't
me,
get
that's
it.
the problem.
I
feel
think that's the
Kunle
bro
thinks
code.
He is more than he is. and that he can give a rubbish, unbaked apology to Mike and get away with it. I don't really care what you are in the position of hierarchies in the industry. If you've offended somebody and you are claiming to apologize, do that right. And I disagree with you saying that you can't really tell somebody how to apologize. There is standard protocol when it comes to apologies. It's like saying apologize and saying a but. Or like saying apologize and say whatever. But. Like those, there is a synopsis.
Do you know what? Do you know what? We don't
see. And that guy was not decent in the way
we don't know the backstory.
We don't care about the backstory. What we know about is the apology.
The fact that
I can bet with you that Mike and the others and us were on the same boat too, because even the person that you're giving the apology to is saying the same thing too, that you're right.
Now, when I gave the illustration of him putting him on his shoulder and be like, bro, sorry man, I'm talking about like over a drink. It's the bro code. I've offended a lot of my guys. Do you understand?
What if I am not in that zone of being a bro code?
Yes.
Just call me or send my manager or something. I am sorry. Finish all that bro code and that junior colleague thing. Look, we are colleagues. Let's forget how old you are. We are
it's
colleagues.
It's not about age. It's about achievement in the industry.
No, it's not.
Give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar.
No,
you don't expect.
Who's Caesar in this case?
That's what he's
I
saying
don't
now.
even need to answer that. I'll let the viewers do that.
But you see, so Caesar should also behave like somebody who has earned all of that, because your Caesar in this case is the person that dropped the ball here.
Yes.
So if anyone needs to be claiming pride and achievement, it is Mike.
But do we believe in mistakes, right? A lot of us will make mistakes.
That wasn't a mistake.
Are you not seeing that this guy's story was laced with pride, which is the point of this conversation? Do you not think that apology that Kunle wrote on Instagram, quote unquote,
I didn't see pride in it. I just felt that it could have been done privately. He could have said those same exact words to his face and it would have been accepted.
Now we're saying the same thing, but that lengthy thing was not necessary.
I could have called you and still said that lengthy thing to your face.
Exactly.
Do you understand? Just to your face. That's the difference.
But anyways, I hope they both just come together and like, you know what, oh yeah, bros, no vex. Can we just move on with life already? Instead of dragging.
On the larger scale of things, it's not that big of a deal.
Exactly. But I see another post coming up pretty soon.
Yeah. Stay tuned. We'll be back, guys.
This medal has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
We now start sharing the shoot of gun.
Whatever I have done.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
Hello and welcome back to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa channel 408. So we have another segment coming in with a special guest. Her name is Adetutu Laditon, who will be joining us via Zoom to discuss the music industry, YouTube Music Week, copyright content, and as much as time will permit, honestly, because she is phenomenal. She is the product marketing manager for Google in Sub-Saharan Africa, with a background in marketing, media strategy, and content development centered around consumer experiences. She understands what drives businesses and how to spread brand awareness efficiently for optimum product promotion. She's currently obsessed with innovating new ways of creating amazing content that's absurdly useful and effective to consumers. Hello, Adetutu.
Hello.
Hi, there. How are you doing?
Hi, well, how are you? Good to have you with us.
Everyone.
Yes. Okay, so let's just jump into the most recent thing that has been happening. Well, I said that was sizzling hot in the entertainment industry, music to be specific, which was the YouTube Music Week and the artist hangout and all of that stuff. It's kind of interesting because most of those artists were not even in the country. So for people who are watching right now who know nothing about that, can you tell us what that hangout was supposed to be about? What was the aim?
Okay, so we launched YouTube Music in Nigeria sometime in March. And as you all know, this year has been a very unusual year. So we came up with YouTube Music primarily to celebrate artists who are sort of releasing songs and making wave right now in the music industry. Our idea was to basically showcase the fact that YouTube is here in market, YouTube Music being that, and then just give this artist an opportunity to have a voice, to talk about their albums, to talk about their collaborations, to talk about how YouTube as a platform has supported them. And so we did that last week. We had about 4 artists who have released different albums in the last, 3 to 5 months. And it was an engaging session that featured press and influencers across the board.
All right, so you know how it is with a lot of artists, especially the upcoming ones, who the pandemic has definitely made them want to drop the ball or give up on music. And YouTube is a platform that we know that it is good for everyone, even established artists, the upcoming ones and all. So for an upcoming artist who feel like they don't have hope anymore, how can YouTube help them during this pandemic to still grow, sell their music and all of that, and, create content and stuff?
I think, for one, YouTube and YouTube Music are sort of in the main platforms, right? And for everyone who understands the value the platform brings, one is giving you visibility. You have to do a lot of work by yourself as an artist to make sure, first and foremost, you have good songs, right? Because I do get situations where people drop albums and nobody likes it. Nobody sort of jumps on it. And so it lies on the artist to make sure the song is good, it's relevant, it has the right beats. And then you also use your networks to sort of amplify it. But once it is on YouTube, it gives them that visibility that they need, not just locally, but with a more global audience. And so from our own end, one thing we definitely try to do with YouTube Music, if you go there on the platform, we have like a latest release sort of platform where you can find new music. And so artists that have new music and are working with their labels properly can be featured there. It's a great way for people to discover their music. Likewise, we have other features with it, which has playlists. So if your song is relevant, in some cases, you have users put it into a playlist, right? We also do supporting when it comes to training and giving them all the relevant tips and tools for optimization on the platform. So across the board, when it comes to up and coming artists, I think there's a lot of work they have to do to make sure they have the right song and are optimizing the platform to deliver on all of that. But from our own end, we also give them that opportunity to get visible on the platform.
All right, so there's some people, right, that they feel like they don't get a lot of views when they post on YouTube, probably with the name, with the way they tag and stuff like that. I need you, from being a content producer for YouTube, how can you advise them on how to tag stuff so that they can amplify their views and stuff like that?
Well, I'd say there's a playbook that has everything. There's even a YouTube Creator Academy, right, which I'd encourage a lot of creators to go find out about. It's just go on the Google search engine and just type in the YouTube playbook, and then go to the YouTube Creator Academy where you can take some trainings. There's a lot of resources to guide artists and even guide content creators on how to optimize their channels for efficiency. Right, and so beyond tags, there are certain things at the back end you need to make sure you're doing: your thumbnail, your labeling. Those are some of the key things. So within those 2 tools of using the YouTube playbook and probably taking some courses on and watching some videos on the Creator Academy, I'm sure they'll be covered.
We have another special somebody in the house, Kezi, who is an Afrofusion singer, youngin in the building, doing his own thing, still indie, but who has a lot of potential. Please welcome with me, Kezi.
Drum rolls.
Hello. How's it going?
Good.
Please, introduce yourself. Tell us your sound, what inspires you, what's that, that jiggy thing about you.
My name is Kezi. That's my real name as well, so
okay.
I just use it as my stage name. I'm an Afrofusion artist, but the thing is, what inspires me basically is real life. I like to make music that depicts what my life represents. So I think that's basically what does the whole inspiration. I want to spread positive messages, you understand, that have to do with what I go through and what people around in my immediate environment go through as well. So.
All right, I respect
that.
I
like the fact that you spoke about real life being your inspiration, because your new song Isabella, which is a banger by the way, and it's been on rotation on most media platforms. Yeah, that's a big one. I noticed that in that video, you tried to depict the culture of compartmentalization in relationship, where the girl in the video didn't want you to see a part of her life, but you saw it and you were still cool with it. So is that a true life experience? Is that something that happened to you in a relationship, or is that something that you can just relate to?
I think it's smart that you caught that. Not too many people caught that. Yeah. It wasn't personal, but like I said, like when I mean real life, it's not just about my life. It's about things that I observe in my immediate environment, like I said. So it wasn't about me, it was about like someone else.
So what do you think about secrets in a relationship? Do you think in a relationship you can open it all, you know, let your
tell it all
see everything, or do you think there's some things that should be held?
I don't know about me personally.
Yes,
personally. Or your opinion.
My opinion is, I feel like it depends on the dynamic of the relationship. It depends on both parties. Like, if they are cool with like keeping some things to themselves, then that's fine. But if they want total honesty, then I don't have any problem.
But you, what would you stand to represent?
I mean, it depends on the kind of partner I'm with, actually. But not normally, I would want to be totally honest with my partner. But then you know that you can't be totally honest with just anybody.
And it takes time, I think.
Yeah, it takes time to build trust. Yeah. So.
All right. Okay. I want to talk more about like before now, right? Before this particular second, what was your life like? Did you always know that you were going to do music? Is it something that you practiced in choir, or were you doing it in school, or did it just come to you like really recently?
No, I've always known actually, but I haven't always been able to do it.
Why?
But I've always, I mean, resources and, you know, like family, all of that, school.
So what did you study?
Petroleum engineering, BSc, oil and gas masters. I'm not chasing
music money is like oil money these days.
Is it? You did the right way, yes. Okay, so your family, you mentioned family as well. Is it something that they didn't really, I mean, it's not new to see African homes.
My dad actually didn't want it because I'm the only boy.
Right.
So like, you know how it was like when we were growing up. And all that, so.
Speaking of family, you've always said you're from a conservative family. Explain that.
I'm an Igbo boy. Do you understand? From Anambra. So if anyone knows anything about Igbo people from Anambra, like it's just crazy. Like they are so traditional. It's not even about money. Like they are high on morality, so they don't really like encourage music.
So what changed? Are you being rebellious right now?
No. I think they've come to terms with it. Like it's been a long time, obviously. Like so, like they've come to terms with the fact that this is what I want to do. Besides, I'm not a kid anymore. So like, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the industry a bit. You know, being an indie and stuff. Obviously, it would be awesome when you get your own team and you have a record label that supports you. But being an indie and working through the Nigerian music industry, what is the hardest thing for you?
The hardest. The hardest would be influence. Not having, you know, somebody influential with that structure and that influence, like paving the way for you or making things easier for you.
Is there anyone you're eyeing right now? Because you know you can shoot your shot too on live TV.
I mean, there's a lot of people, do you understand? But I don't know them personally, so I can't just sit here and say I'm eyeing this person. I think it takes trust. It takes a lot of conversation, like for you to actually say, okay, this is who, because you have to make sure that their goals align with yours. Do you get me?
Right, let's take it away from your recent single, Isabella. You know, in 2019, you dropped a song with Peruzzi, Isabella, and Peruzzi is regarded as one of the greatest songwriters right now. We know what he's doing for DMW and stuff. And to be honest, that's a jam. I don't know, like this guy has songs for days, no bad songs.
Thank you.
So international, tell us about that. One would have thought that doing that song with Peruzzi, it would, you know,
pay a big break.
Big break. What happened?
It doesn't always work like that, actually. Like that's what I've come to learn. Do you understand? Because you know, just doing a song with a big artist doesn't necessarily mean, even if you do the song, you still need the structure, you still need the influence to be able to push it.
This time we'll be right back to stay tuned, guys. Thank you. Hello and welcome back to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa channel 408. So we have another guest in the building and his name is Fumbo Olumayowa, also known as Fo. He hails from Rivers State and Foe started dancing in his teenage years. He dipped into music during his university days, halted music and started his PR company. Fast forward to this present moment, Foe is actually gradually caving himself a proper niche in the entertainment industry, doing skits on social media. He's heavily influenced by reality and social issues, being challenged by the average Nigerian. Welcome, Foe.
Hi.
Hi.
Am I supposed to do drum rolls too?
No, you get the drum rolls.
How's it going?
Good.
So this whole episode has been about the entertainment industry and the infrastructure with it and stuff. And it's nice that we have some type of twist away from music to go into influencing. I personally think the influencers are probably one of the most undermined people. Maybe because we don't have that, Skabosh vibe, with it and stuff. But from your experience, because I want to speak for you, how has that been like in just really living through that industry?
That's awesome. I actually started last year.
Yeah.
So November will make it a year.
Nice.
Right? And well, it's been a blast. I won't lie. That's like if you have good content though, that's like the easiest way to sell at the moment. Because, we have all the social platforms that are out there. So I don't need to knock on your door or maybe force you to listen to my music if I was doing music, because I did that for a long time. I know what man, it was not easy, honestly. Yeah, but with this, everybody wants something new. So you just have to look for something that you could delve in and just create a niche for yourself.
When you say it's been great, do you mean this also on a lucrative basis, or do you mean that you've gotten a lot of exposure? Because it don't always mean the same thing.
Okay, so both ways. Okay. Exposure-wise, fine. I'm still growing. I can't tell you, I've hit like a gazillion million followers now. I'm still growing. But apparently, my content gets to be shared even outside my Instagram platform. I get to see a lot, and I get calls, phone calls. Like, when you start getting feedback from what you've done days ago, months ago, it just shows, you're doing the right thing and you're on the right, you understand. So it just gives me this joy. And as concerned being nucleative, you haven't gotten so much brands coming to say, help me do this, but the little I've gotten, yes, it has been. Yeah, it is.
So in your space, originality is key.
It is key.
And then you see a lot of people that have similar content. Like, to be honest, I've seen some of your content that's similar to another. Like, what is happening there? Is it that you guys have like a WhatsApp group where you share your ideas together, or people just take your ideas?
No, we don't. Like you've read in my profile, mine is based on the reality. I didn't just want to go on Instagram and start talking about everything. Most of the guys you see these days, they just want to show off girls, booty, talk about whatnot, how a guy would, and that's what you get. It's random, I look at what is facing the average man. Like the last one I did, the most previous ones I just did.
About actors.
About actors and actresses.
I really like that.
Because that is what is actually going on. Even when I did the goat skit that made me blow. Shout out to my goats. Anyways, so, so this is just me trying to look at your end or your perspective and trying to face it, like trying to place it out in the most hilarious or comic way as possible. But if you really sit down to think about it again, I'm actually passing a message. So I don't see any reason why you want to come on my space, or you're trying to like gain followership or trying to be on. Let me put it this way. So most people don't really understand what influencing is.
Okay.
You're big. People look at you on different levels, You want to be an influencer, or you want to be doing skits, and you're just all about preaching how you're trying to get ladies down, how, the next thing, because all of a sudden you're looking at someone's skit, then the next thing you're showing a lady's butt, then it's tiring.
That is all that we could take today. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Thank you so much for joining. And you can join this conversation on social media with the hashtag #TeaTime, or tweet at us at +TV Africa. Remember that you can catch up on all our previous episodes, including this one, and all our exclusive content by subscribing to our YouTube channel at +TV Africa. You can also watch Tea Time on RTTV and in London on Ben Television. A big thank you will go out to my co-anchor Ifeoluwa Oshuke and Miles, who had to step down for social distancing, to my guests Adetutu, Fo, and Kezi, and to the entire production team. Thank you so much for watching. This is Tea Time on +TV Africa. My name is Ife Omai.
I think it's very important because most people don't know what people go through. You know, celebrities will always try to put up this strong front. People see us like, oh, I look up to them. They don't cry, they don't suffer, they don't go through depression, they don't have any problems. So for me, as a person, I always like to share my experience with people because I want them to learn from how I've used those experiences to become a better person.
Oftentimes when we see celebrities either on social media, television, or in person, we assume they have it all together, but we forget that they're also human. Well, here are some of the low points of some of your favorite celebrities.
That's very easy. I'll just share one. That's very easy. See, guys, a lot of people see me now slaying and doing all the things. They're like, Brian, because see, you be fine boy now, you know as it be now. You got it easy, or you know, things better when you day. But it's not always like. Let me tell you guys something, man, guys. My first 2 years as anything, as a model, as an entertainer, as an actor, I didn't get one job. I'm not talking about 2 weeks. I'm not talking about 3 months. I'm not talking about one. I'm not talking about 6 months. I'm talking about 2 years. So 2 years I was sitting at home. Not like I wasn't working, not like I wasn't going for castings, not like I wasn't doing whatever others were doing. I didn't get anything, guys. So put that to what you're going through now. You get, because some people get out of school and they're like, I've not made it, man. It's been like 6 months, man. Nothing happened. Bye-bye. 2 years. But here we are. So what I'm trying to say is that everybody has their own timeline. Everybody has their own story. So don't use that to say, don't be looking at somebody else's success and say, because it happened to Rami, what's happened to me in 1 week. Bye-bye, no.
Nobody knows I went through the hardship of life and I went through my ups and downs, and I just had only one person who was actually there for me, which was my mom anyways. So I had a rocky university days. I think people don't know that. I actually went to 3 universities and ended up finishing in one shot.
I drove into a filling station and I was meant to get fuel, 4,000. Do you understand? And probably the guy that was selling, he used to be my fan when I was working, you know, in the radio as a presenter. I'm like, oh, Baba, now you Casey Brown, Baba, Baba. He got confused. He gave me full tank instead of 4,000. Do you understand? So, and then I don't have up to that amount to fix it up because in real, I don't get up. All I have with me is 4,000 naira for the fuel and 8,000 naira to buy a fuel cleanser to put in my car. And the guy, so I bought the fuel. I told him, okay, fine. I'll bring you 8,600 because he was begging me, I'm going to sack me, it's not my fault, not my fault. I was okay, fine, I'll bring you 8,600. Bro, I got so busy. I forgot about even giving the guy 8,600. The guy went straight to my Facebook and was like, stop living a fake life. You came to our filling station, you came to buy fuel for credit, they don't want to pay, come and pay me my money, blah, 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 stop faking a fake, stop. I was like, this same dude that was begging me, my boss will sack me, it's my fault. And I was like, I will pay. I entered my car. As soon as I saw that thing, I zoomed straight to the station. They said the guy has been fired. The manager there was begging me. They called the guy in Ikorodu. He went straight and dropped that post himself. I didn't do it. And the manager said, for this, because I told the guy, I said, one article online about this filling station will cost you guys a bad reputation. They said they will not pay him his balance, a salary that they're supposed to give to him. But I ended up pleading for him. Do you understand? So that is what we get every now and then.
I've worked over 12 jobs in my life.
Wow.
Yeah, I cleaned the lavatory on the plane.
Have you said that anywhere else?
I think on Big Brother I did.
Okay.
And I said, stop telling them all those things. I'm like, it's part of my journey. You know, it just reminds me of where I came from. You know, I wasn't born with a silver spoon, but of course my parents were comfortable growing up. But I had to work hard. You know, I had to work hard. So being where I am today, I always think about what I did back in the day, how far I've come, and this is only the beginning. I know that the sky is just the starting point. It's definitely not the limit. So yeah.
There was a time in my life I had just moved out of home. I wanted to be a man on my own terms. So I moved out of home, left the family business, and I went to quote unquote hustle. I moved in with a friend of mine who lived in Shomolu. I was so broke because I had nothing. I took nothing from home. That I had to walk from Shomolu to Surulere every day for a year and a half. I had no money. I could barely afford 1 meal a day. My job at that point, even after graduating from university, was distributing flyers on the streets of Lagos. What that taught me about myself was that I had a never say die attitude. And I have the strength and resilience to face any circumstance. I came out of that stronger. Like sometimes I look back now and I realize if I could have survived that time, then really there are only a few challenges that will come to me or come my way that I wouldn't be able to survive. And with that kind of confidence, I think everybody, when you figure out what it is about you that is special, with that confidence, you can surmount almost every issue that comes your way.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers. You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. From the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Hello and welcome to this special broadcast to celebrate 68th Independence Day anniversary of Nigeria, a journey which began with the lowering down of Union Jack and hoisting of green, white, green flag on October 1, 1960.
In the last 60 years, it's been twists and turns. Just after the independence, the country was confronted with a military coup. 6 years after, and the 7th year, it was a civil war.
Shockingly, the country bounced back with a hope of rebuild, reconstruct, and reconcile. And since then, the country has remained united, indivisible, and indissoluble despite its heterogeneous nature.
It is, however, not a bed of roses, as the country has failed to achieve its full potential, despite the humongous human and natural resources it is blessed with.
So on our special broadcast today, we shall be discussing and analyzing different aspects of nationhood, from politics and governance, legislature, judiciary, and economy.
And still on the lineup, we shall be joined by experts here in the studio and virtually to review how we have fared.
Guess what? I have a piece of advice for you. Just keep your remote control away from you and keep it locked on Plus TV Africa.
Welcome, and I am Amaka Okoye.
And I am Kayode Ladende. Happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day, Kaide. We are 60.
It's exciting.
I know. Who knows?
Before I'm accused of not wearing green, if not for the background, I was going to come here with my green suit.
Kaede, you know I'm patriotic, you see. Even though mine is not looking exactly green, but
exactly.
Well.
Yeah, happy Independence Day. It's quite celebrating. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we shall be introducing our, should we call them panelists or guests?
Experts and guests.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll be back shortly.
First point of accountability is asking questions.
Hello and welcome to Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
Hi everyone, welcome to Plus Training.
You cannot continue to recycle poverty while you're spending a lot of money on unproductive ventures.
The government has to feel the impact.
Honorable Commissioner, sir, welcome to the show.
Just opening your mouth to say what you think doesn't make it true. There is no sovereign immunity when you take a commercial loan. Those who criticize the government for borrowing should come out and provide the alternative source of funding. This is the argument. Politics is a very, very interesting and dynamic undertaking, and it is a game of persuasion. People can say what they like, but what are the facts? For that unborn generation, we have a choice. Let us as a nation decide that we want them to wait until 2050 to come and do it at 2050 price.
Recently, you were included in the Special Committee on Power. Is this another subtle way of bringing you back to continue where you stopped?
Well, I think that question should be directed to the authorities that brought me back. They would know why better.
One-on-One with Babatunde Fashola, premiering October 1st at 12:30 p.m. and repeat at 8:30 p.m. A story mixed with a civil war, an oil boom, coups and counter-coups, fast increase in population, economic growth, a long-standing insurgency, and many more. Currently going through its longest spell of democracy. From 1960, there have been about 30 years of military rule with short spells of democratic rule, which were cut short by coups, and then its current uninterrupted spell of democratic rule from 1999 till date. It brings up questions about the pace of development for Africa's biggest economy and its achievements since stepping away from military rule.
Given the resources that we have, given the potentials that we have, it would be full idea of anybody to say we are making good enough progress. But having said that, one cannot say it's Uhuru yet under the civil administration that we are in now. But having said that, in no way, shape, or form could it be compared with the malady that defined the governance under military rule. Given the enormous amount of resources that the militarisans garnered and wasted, many of such resources squandered and looted. You have some of the richest Nigerians now as we speak being partakers of the military era.
Military rule saw some level of economic and infrastructural growth in Nigeria, and also some level of stability with Nigeria's economy. For example, in 1999, just before the return to democracy, $1 exchanged for 21 naira 89 kobo and 88 to 90 naira in the black market. And over time, it has continuously climbed till a current rate of about 450 naira to the dollar.
Well, I think such comparison will be very difficult, particularly when you are dealing with nation building. It was not as if military rule happened outside the Nigerian social milieu. You know, it's just like trying to say, how did we fare under colonialism? But what has happened is that the military rule, just like as it sounds, being a dictatorship, truncated what would have enabled appropriate orientation, the development of appropriate skills and competencies, which you know is only attainable in an environment where the people freely decide how they need to be governed.
Democracy may have come with its challenges, as many believe with increased GDP and freedom, the nation should have been able to achieve a lot more with infrastructure and better living standards for its people.
What has happened, which is the effects of military rule and which have affected governance in Nigeria, is that you discover that governance, even under democratic rule, is still being conducted through executive ability.
The nation's leadership selection process also has been continually questioned. A look into the pace of growth under military and democratic rule, we must put into perspective the structures for development in both eras. Both can be judged to have had their positive and negative aspects.
To be honest with you, just opposing military rule with civilian rule, especially when we have seen what military administration bequeathed other countries like Indonesia, like Brazil. You know, we've seen what military administration bequeathed countries like Argentina. You know, and you want to compare the malady that was defined as military administration in Nigeria as governance. Look at what a single party entity, the nearest to military administration. Look at what it's doing in China today. Look at how China has been transformed in 30 years. The same 30 years that military spent in Nigeria with no tangible results for it.
A few opinions believe that Nigeria would have moved at a faster pace if it was still under military rule. Some also argue that Nigeria is still very young in its democratic spell and can't be judged to have failed. It is 60 years after Nigeria's independence. Lessons must be learned from other countries as we move forward, finding a path to a greater nation.
Welcome back. You're still watching the special broadcast from Plus TV Africa. That was a report by one of our correspondents, Osaoge Ogbonwon, who did a report on politics and governance, and that will set the tone for our conversation. Yeah, we're being joined now virtually, all the way from Kaduna, right? Yeah, we have Dr. Yunusa Tanko, a politician, a political activist, who will be dissecting these issues of politics and governance. Good morning, Dr. Yunusa.
Good morning, Nigerians. Thank you for having me. Happy Independence Day.
And happy Independence Day to you too.
All right, we're also joined by Chukwuma Innocent, who is the country director for Ford Foundation West Africa. He is also a globally renowned human rights advocate. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Chukwuma.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Okay, let's get the conversation started. Let me start with Dr. Yunusa. I don't know whether you had the privilege of watching the report we just played now. But if you Oh, good. So let's look at some of the issues raised by the correspondent. He did mention that some believe that it's still a nascent democracy, so we should be excused. 60 years cannot be compared with more than 200 years of independence that America has enjoyed, because that usually comes to our mind as a way of comparing what we've done and what we haven't done. So do you share that sentiment that let us not overflog this 60-year-old man?
Not at all. The truth about it is that I'm a realist. I'm a realist, and I don't believe in trying to pan-beat a situation. When you have some problem, sometimes when people have a headache, they don't want to really find out the root of their problem. They will continue taking Panadol all the time. And then the only thing that Panadol will do is just kind of reduce the pain for a period. Let's be truthful to ourselves. We have, as a people, we have not been able to wake up. We are still crawling. And you can't tell me that a 60-year-old person will be crawling. He's already close to his death. God forbid me. But he needs to start working. He needs to start mobilizing. He needs to start communicating. Nigerians have so much problem, and the problems start with us as a people. One of the key issues I usually mention is that we don't love ourselves. And there is this particular national interest that is lacking in the system. Point in time, we were doing well, we were picking up. Some would say probably during the era when we were having province, and probably during the era in which each of the regions were surviving on their own, we were a little bit better. And then some would say, no, true federalism will help in a situation like this. Probably a lot of people have grown. But the truth is that the key indices of democratic system, which is lacking in our governance, has driven us down the line. I was of the opinion that at this point in time, we should have gone beyond this. Ali Mazori was making an allusion to some certain fact. He said, while what other countries were moving to home, we are trying to find our way to the villages. Even the villages we are trying to get our route to those particular villages is difficult. If you have to go to my village now, you need a donkey to get there. So, for the fact, since after the Civil War, we've not been able to carry along the people from the southeast. We have not been able to carry along some of the people from the north central. We've not been able to carry along some of the people from the west. We've not been able to carry along with all the different regions, because as you see every day, different kinds of agitation is coming up.
Right.
As of yesterday or so, I was reading that the Oduduwa would declare a state of their own nation, probably today. So we can't say that the country has really grown or found its foot.
Right.
There's still so much. In fact, we need to go back to the drawing board.
All right, thank you, Dr. Tanko, for your thoughts there. Let's bring in Mr. Chukwuma on the other end to hear what he says. What are your thoughts? I mean, on my way this morning to work, part of the conversation that was going on radio is the Nigeria of my dream. You know, people saying, I want to see this Nigeria, this sort of Nigeria where the roads are good, where light is stable, where true leadership is all that works. I'm wondering, today we are 60. What are your thoughts, and what kind of Nigeria should we be looking forward to on the background of what Dr. Yunusa had just explained?
In my view, and to put it simply, this past 60 years, we have experienced a case of mixed picture of few successes and many failures. And the successes essentially focuses on one thing, which is human capital development. If we begin from the first 6 years of independence, where, as my brother Dr. Tanko said, the regions drove economic development and really invested a lot in human capital development. And over the decades and years, it has come down to parents really working their back to death to see their children through, to the extent that today there is no country in the world where Nigerian experts are not distinguishing themselves, driven largely by young people. But on the back of those few successes, there's also many failures. Today, Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world. Today, Nigeria, in terms of terrorism index, is number 3. It's actually, with the possible exception of Iraq and Afghanistan, Nigeria is even rated worse than Syria. Nigeria is the worst place to be a woman in the world in terms of maternal care and what have you. We are more divided today than we have ever been. And to the point that today, if you look at all the headlines, it comes down to one summary: will Africa's most populous nation remain united? And largely because since independence, we've not been able to keep the multitude of our people, different ethnic groups, united and happy. And how do we begin to address it for the next 60 years? It actually begins with a leadership that is not conflicted. You know, we have had many leaders that claim to be nationalists, but once they go into the office, they are conflicted between their national affiliation and their micro or subnational affiliation. And often at the end of the day, the subnational affiliation gets upper hand. Peter Eke wrote an article in 1975 titled Two Publics, that Nigerian nation and many Africans, we are faced with two publics, the national public and the narrow ethnic public. And often the narrow ethnic public gets upper hand. So how do we blend this to create a true Nigerian? Because until we begin to create what is our own idea of a true Nigerian? And for me, it's somebody who puts merits first. I'm not saying there shouldn't be affirmative actions to help those who can't catch up, but there should be a merit-based system that should reward excellence, that should make sure that we put our best hands in the best places and have mechanism of helping those who can meet up to meet up. And this is not just alongside ethnic or national. Even in families, we have ways of encouraging kids according to their own abilities. So when we begin to make the average Nigerian feel that Nigeria is a place that he or she can actually self-actualize, we'll begin to transform this huge human capital that we have into national development, because Nigeria is losing the best of its hands to other places in the world, because we don't know how to harness them.
Mr. Chukwuma, that's a very, very deep diagnosis you've done, and that will really set the tone for our conversation. But we'll quickly go on a short break. We're going to be joined by another guest who is going to join us here live in the studio. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers. You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Nothing is more important than our children. Parents, the health of your children is in your hands. Don't send them out without ensuring that they are safe. As children prepare to return to school, what have you done to keep them protected? When it's time to resume, protect your child and others with CAS 3-in-1 Protection Pack. It comes with a medically approved face shield, a 100% cotton face mask, and a portable hand sanitizer spray approved by NAFDAC. Place your order and it would be delivered to your doorstep by FedEx courier service anywhere in Nigeria at no extra cost. Call our 24/7 call center at 09-904-1000 or visit our website at casppe.com.ng. CAS 3-in-1 Protection. Protect others to protect yourself.
The biggest challenge for our generation is here. COVID-19 has altered the way we live in unprecedented ways. The only way to win in a crisis like this is to separate fact from falsehood, separate science from superstition, to get crucial information on how to live in a COVID-19 infected world. Join Stanley Bentu on Stay Safe, coming your way on Mondays and Thursdays at 9:30 p.m. on Plus TV.
This Medan has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
When I start hearing the shoot of gun.
Whatever I've done.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
Just opening your mouth to say what you think doesn't make it true. There is no sovereign immunity when you take a commercial loan. Those who criticize the government for borrowing should come out and provide the alternative source of funding. This is the argument. Politics is a very, very interesting and dynamic undertaking, and it is a game of persuasion. People can say what they like, but what are the facts? For that unborn generation, we have a choice. Let us as a nation decide that we want them to wait until 2050 to come and do it at 2050 price.
Recently, you were included in the Special Committee on Power. Is this another subtle way of bringing you back to continue where you stopped?
Well, I think that question should be directed to the authorities that brought me back. They would know why better.
One-on-One with Babatunde Fashola, premiering October 1st at 12:30 p.m. and repeat at 8:30 p.m.
Welcome back. You're still tuning to Plus TV Africa, where we are bringing you a special Independence Day broadcast. We went on a short break to bring in another discussant on this issue, and that's Dr. Dan Ekere, a philosopher. That's a lecturer from the Department of Philosophy, University of Lagos. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good to have you.
Yeah, it's a great pleasure to be here.
Happy Independence. We can see you all clad in green.
Well, yeah, it
Some
is.
sort of green.
Yeah, what a coincidence.
Okay. We understand that this is one of those things. I'm trying to hide my feelings about it, but as of last night, we understand the president will be addressing the nation at the parade at 10 a.m. But shockingly, we had the broadcast earlier today. So we are going to give you some of the clips of the broadcast that Mr. President had. Then from there, we will continue the conversation. Take a listen.
Where did we stray, and how can we remedy and retrace our steps? Upon attaining independence, Nigeria's growth trajectory was anchored on policies and programs that positively impacted on all sectors of the economy. However, this journey was cut short by the 30 months of civil war. We came out of the civil war with a focus on reconstruction, rehabilitation, and reconciliation that enabled, which was truncated by another round of military rule. For a cumulative 29 of our 60 years existence as a nation, we have been under military rule. My summary of our journey so far as a nation is necessary to appropriately chart where we need to go and how to get there together. Today, I am aware that our economy, along with every single economy in the world, is in crisis. We still face security challenges in parts of the country, while our society suffers from high loss of moral rectitude, which is driven by unbridled craving for political control. An underlying cause of most of the problems we have faced as a nation is our consistent harping on artificially contrived fault lines that we have harbored and allowed unnecessarily to fester. In addition, institutions such as civil service, police, the judiciary, the military all suffered from a general decline. We need to begin a sincere process of national healing, and this anniversary presents a genuine opportunity to eliminate old and outworn perceptions that are always put to test in the lie they always are. The stereotype of thinking of ourselves as coming from one part of the country before seeing ourselves as Nigerians is a key starting point to project us on the road to our deserved need. Nigerians in the diaspora frequently excel in science, technology, medicine, sports, arts, and many other fields. Similarly, the creativity, ingenuity, and resourcefulness of the Nigerian at home has resulted in globally recognized endeavors. I am convinced that if we pursue our aspirations together, we would be able to achieve whatever we desire. That informed our adopting the theme together to mark this epochal event. Together, we can change our condition for the better, and more importantly, together we can do much more for ourselves and for our country. I choose the path of self-reflection because this is what I do on a daily basis. And I must confess that at most times I always felt the need for a collective reflection, as I know that the foundation for a solid future, which this administration is laying, can only be sustainable if there is a collective commitment by Nigerians. Nigeria is not a country for Mr. President, any ruling or opposition party, but a country for all of us, and we must play our part irrespective of challenges we face to make this country what we desire. To achieve this, we must focus our minds together as a people on ways of resolving the identified critical challenges that underlie our present state. These include A, evolving and sustaining a democratic culture that leaves power in the hands of the people. B, supporting the enthronement of the rule of law, demanding accountability of elected representatives and contributing to good governance. C, increasing our commitment to peaceful coexistence in a peaceful, secure, and united Nigeria. D, harnessing and optimizing our tremendous human and natural resources to attain our goal of being in the top 20 economies of the world, and in the process, E, lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in 10 years. F, strengthening institutions to make them stronger in protecting national interests. And G, imbibing tolerance in diversity. I am a firm believer in transparent, free, fair, and credible elections, as has been demonstrated during my period as a democratically elected president. The recent build-up and eventual outcome of the Edo State election should encourage Nigerians that it is my commitment to bequeath to this country processes and procedures that would guarantee that the people's votes count. The problems with our electoral process is mainly human-induced, as desperate desire for power leads to desperate attempts to gain power and office. Democracy, the world over, and as I am pursuing in Nigeria, recognizes the power of the people. However, if some constituencies choose to bargain off their power, they should be prepared for denial of their rights. This goal is made more urgent if we realize that even after a transparent, free, fair, and credible election, desperation leads to compromising the judiciary to overturn legitimate decisions of the people. It is necessary to, therefore, support the enthronement of the rule of law by avoiding actions which compromise the judiciary. Fellow Nigerians, our history has shown that we are a people that have the capacity to live peacefully with one another. As a government, we remain committed to our constitutional oath of securing the lives and properties of the citizenry. I, however, call on the citizenry to also support government by providing the necessary community-level intelligence in addressing.
Welcome back, and that was part of the broadcast by the president. He did highlight quite a lot of issues, and we will be touching them from time to time. But quickly, he did say that the artificial fault lines, that we shouldn't allow it to fester. And he also talked about the sincere process of national healing. I think I love that part. Then he also talked about that we've done well in sports, in creative industry, and so many things. These are some of the issues that we'll also be talking about later in the day when we'll be looking at the youth, and we'll look at the industry that are thriving despite little or no support from the government. Then he mentioned the issue of deepening and sustaining democracy, enthroning the rule of law, increasing our commitment to our national unity. Then quite a lot of issues that he touched about. Amaka.
I mean, I agree with you completely in the things that you're highlighting. He also mentioned, like you said, sustaining a democratic culture. All of the things that he said, most that stood out for me particularly is almost the last bit of what we heard, which is he said, we have the capacity to live together peacefully. And if you also look at the theme, I think it's all coined around that sense of togetherness. It's also crucial that he recognized the need for national healing. There's a need for us to really come together. So I'm sure we'll leave the floor for our analysts now to help us dissect it.
Okay, maybe we should start with the new entrant to have a feel of his voice. You know, you have the privilege of even listening on radio while you were coming. While we have, just to put it on record, we have Dr. Innocent Chukwuma still with us virtually, if network hasn't taken him away. And we also have Dr. Yunusa Tanko. Indeed, we are dwelling together. So let's have your take on this speech.
Yeah, thank you. I think, well, it's a beautiful speech to an extent, but then there's always a difference between, reading a speech and actually saying what you believe. Sometimes, clearly, we do know that most of the time, speeches are written for, key political officers, and the president is not an exception. But at least when we look at the issues he has raised, particularly the issue of capacity to live together, I think that is a fact. But then there's a huge challenge that is making that, position difficult, and that is leadership. And unfortunately, he's even one of them, because practically every, government we've had has contributed one way or the other to even separate us the more. And unfortunately, this happened to be one of such governments that has even promoted that. As a matter of fact, people are now complaining that we are now more divided than we used to be. Because there have been issues of recruitment that is one-sided, appointments that are one-sided, and look at even the issue of the military, the chiefs.
Service chiefs.
If you look at the service chiefs.
The service chiefs, I mean, how many are there? Where are they from? So that has raised several issues, to the extent that even the National Assembly has, not on the basis of where they come from, but has said these men need to go. Bringing you, that is one. Then we've seen issue of recruitment by DSS and all the other issues. So it wasn't for nothing that those who our founding fathers said that we should have a consideration for what they call federal character. All of those issues are there. Then good governance is critical to the sustenance of the system. Good governance is very critical. And what is good governance? The government must create an enabling environment for the citizenry to actually unleash their potentials. But that is not what we are getting. As we speak today, it's not unlikely that before the end of today, there will be news that some other persons have been killed.
No, we don't want to see that.
I say it's not unlikely because it has become a daily occurrence. To the point that soldiers that the country has invested so much in are being wasted. There's so many other things. Those are the ones who are, there are many others that are not even reported. A lot of crises. All of these are issues of governance. So we've not been able to get governance right. And we're talking about democratic condition. I mean a culture, deepening it. How much of this democratic culture do these leaders actually understand? How much of it? What democratic culture are we setting? Are we copying somebody? Or do we have a culture we are trying to build into this particular space? Because I recall clearly that almost everybody believed or accepts that the Greeks were actually the first to practice what is today substantially known as democracy. Yeah, but now look at the practice. What happened in Greece? Is that what is happening in the US? Is that what is happening in UK and the rest of them? Even within the West, you still see that each and every group try to create a system that functions for it. But we have been copying.
That's a good thing. It's a system that works for it.
Yes.
So the need to have a homegrown system that works for us. All right, we still have
Okay, let me talk to Dr. Yunusa, if you're still there. Now, two issues that I've listened to Dr. Dan Ekere and Mr. Innocent Chukwuma is the issue of how do we build a strong institution. I remember what Mr. Chukwuma did say. He said that we should actually enthrone merit over some other factors like what you might call culture system, what you might call affirmative action. It has to be 35% of women, whether there is brain or beauty. These are some of the issues that I suspect that he raised. What's your take on building a strong institution and strong leadership?
I guess you are referring to me now.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. When it comes to the issue of strong institution, now there's something that they call discipline. Discipline has to be done within a system itself. A system works when you do not discriminate against individuals who have done something wrong. A case in study, you have a corrupt officer who comes from a certain part of the country, and he had done something wrong. Instead of you to discipline him based on what he has done according to dictates of law and order, you panabit that situation and allow that person to go scot-free. Now, another person performed the same situation, then you would discipline that, maybe even a lesser crime. You discipline that person and give him all kind of condition of names, telling him he's a thief, he's a corrupt person, and all kind of things. That is discrimination. There is no discipline in the system. So people don't believe that the system works for everybody. The system must work for everybody where form of employment is done based on merit and carried along every sphere of this particular country. I give an analogy. I said at a point in time, I want to believe that a Nigeria that really works for all of us is when the leaders of this country show kind of leadership by example. When you have a kitchen cabinet of Mr. President that depicts the different, at least major speaking languages in this country. You have an Igbo man, you have a Yoruba man, you have an Hausa man who becomes your think tank and be telling you things that are happening within their own environment. It will give a sense of belonging to everybody. Like, look, we need to sit up and let everything work according to the rules and regulations. And that is how an institution works. Not when you do it for the interest of your own persons or your own people, then you think it works. It sends a wrong signal to the other part that things are not meant for me as a person. And that is the reason why when people in the Southeast are agitating, in the agitation for the Southeast, for example, they are saying that, look, every section or the zones of this country, some of them have 7 states under it. Some have 6 and 7, 6, and then they have only 5. They feel there's no fairness in that. And what does it take for you to give the Southeast people one more state at least to have a minimum threshold that belongs to everybody? That way people will start belonging, and everybody that belongs to that particular system will start working together